No, that was one of the things that woke me up at around 10 o'clock. I don't know. I think water went somewhere that it shouldn't have, or maybe breeze went somewhere that it shouldn't have. And it is causing the glitch. So excuse the car alarm that you're hearing. So I'm waiting the 10:50 update from the what do you call it, the weather channel. So let me give you the 10:35 a.m. update from the weather channel. As of 10:35 a.m. and we'll be checking in with the weather channel and their nice meteorologists all day today. So the next time I'm going to check in with them is after 1, then again after 4, then again after 7. Okay, that is when they actually come with the new meteorologist and a new update. So we see we don't have Jim Cantor anymore. His shift, I believe, is finished. So now we have Dr. Greg Postel, and Dr. Postel is a hurricane specialist. So here's the latest update on Category 5 major hurricane Melissa from the Weather Channel US as of 10:35 a.m. on Monday, October 27. All right, so let us have this put up quickly. All right.
Right now, officials urging people to hunker down and stay.
I think I can hear my... Okay, I think I'm hearing my neighbor talking to my father about possible storm surge in St. Thomas. That, you know, it's exactly at the same spot. If you remember the video that I posted about the girl who was hitting her head by the block, there's a part there between White Horses and Morant Bay in St. Thomas that the sea comes very close to the road. So it isn't surprising because we have a whole category 4 out at sea right now that's basically not moving. So it's just churning up the sea even more. So it sounds like he's saying that even although they built a whole new road and they put millions of stone in the road, well, not in the road, on the seaside, the water has come up. And if people are traveling from Western St. Thomas to Morant Bay to the eastern end side, they are unable to do so right now because the sea has come up. There's some amount of storm surge taking place. Basically the same place that the lady in the video was saying that if they wanted to actually take the girl to the hospital in Morant Bay side, then that wouldn't have been possible because the sea is already over onto the road. So it sounds like it's the same situation right now. As expected, that's what happens when you build a whole road right next to the sea. I mean, it's the same thing down in that place near Harbor View there. You have a lot of houses on the seaside and you have the new highway built there. So I'm pretty sure that it's the same situation in a way. So as I stated, excuse the car alarm going off. I don't know, it is glitching out right now because of the bad weather here in St. Thomas. Yeah. Alright, so let's turn over to the weather channel. I'm sure they're gonna say something new. Okay, so let's reload it. Let's hide this. Hold on, quick. I think they're talking about Melissa. Quick.
Jamaica, very heavy rain, catastrophic flooding, of course, and right near where the center moves across the island of Jamaica, there will be nearly complete destruction with trees flattened and all structures essentially leveled. This is the kind of wind that we're talking about. Thankfully, it's in a tiny little area near the center. The cloud canopy that you see here looks very bad and it is nasty. But again, the hurricane force winds extend outward only about 25 miles from the center. That's the hurricane force winds. And any Cat 5 winds are again in a very, very small area in the inner edge of the eye wall. That is thankfully the case this time around. Moving very slowly, unfortunately, at 3 miles per hour. Probably picks up a little bit of speed, so the bad weather lasts a while. Even if it's in a small area, it's going to stick around because of that slow movement. And we're going to be tracking Melissa very carefully through the evening hours. Now, what's shaded in blue, the tropical storm force winds, so manageable winds, but certainly impactful and gustier than that at times. But Kingston is not likely to see hurricane force winds with this, thankfully, as are many other areas in the eastern half of Jamaica, not likely to see hurricane force winds. Those are much more confined to this part of Melissa. As it moves northbound, it is likely to cross land, let's say tomorrow morning. Now, the timing is not perfect here, but you get the idea. Tomorrow morning at some point, landfall will be happening, and right near and just to the right of where the center crosses the coast, we're going to see extremely destructive winds way over 100 miles per hour, much, much higher than that. And even on the north side here of the island, perhaps Montego Bay, heads up, we could see winds over hurricane force there. Crosses over Jamaica, then makes a second landfall, we think, in Cuba, and then moves back out over the water. It's still potentially a strong tropical cyclone here, maybe a major hurricane moving through parts of the southeastern Bahamas and Turks and Caicos. Alex and Jenny have much more on the impacts.
Well, Category 5 Hurricane Melissa has Jamaica in its crosshairs, an island whose history is already deeply scarred by these powerful Atlantic storms.
Meteorologist Felicia Combs looks at Jamaica's long, often challenging relationship with hurricanes, from the devastating landfalls of the past to the new threat that they are preparing for right now.
An island nation known for its hypnotic beauty, vibrant culture, and its deep, unwavering spirit, Jamaica is a true Caribbean jewel. But the beautiful Caribbean Sea that brings life to these shores can also breed one of the world's most destructive forces, hurricanes. Historically, Jamaica has been fortunate, with many powerful major hurricanes veering just north or south of the island. Ivan in 2004 and Dean in 2007 passed close enough to inflict significant damage. Sandy slipped by in 2012.
Everything was underwater. When I look up in the top, I start to cry.
Beryl blew by to the south in 2024. But it's the direct landfalls that truly carve a line in the island's memory. For a generation, Hurricane Charlie in 1951 was the benchmark for disaster. Making landfall as a powerful Category 3 storm, Charlie tore through the capital of Kingston.
We've been giving you detailed reports about Hurricane Gilbert.
Then came the storm that changed everything in September 1988, Hurricane Gilbert. Cat 3 Gilbert remains the strongest, costliest, and most destructive storm in Jamaica's recorded history. A slow, grinding path of devastation that left an estimated 500,000 people temporarily homeless. People still reference time as being before or after Gilbert. Jamaica's long history is a testament to both the beauty and the peril of life in the tropics. It is a nation that knows deeply the roar of the sea and the cost of the wind, yet remains resilient, rebuilt, and ready for the next storm.
Okay, so they're showing us the cameras, the live cams, crossroads. Now we have flat bridge here and there, and they basically gave us a little documentary of Jamaica's hurricane history. That's good. I think I'll upload that as well. Thank you very much with the channel. The channel doing some hard work. No problem. No problem. So I don't think I'll be visiting Weather Channel anymore until the 1 p.m. update comes out. So we'll basically be discussing what's really going on and what is the ODPM saying, what is the NWA saying, what is the Jamaica Gleaner, Jamaica Observer saying. We want updates. Even although I'm sure nothing has really started as yet, because remember what Melissa has been doing thus far, more of a westward slow trek. So basically the same kind of weather that we've been experiencing on Sunday is what we're experiencing thus far on Monday. Old satellite imagery as well. Yeah, You see it, the Gilbert imagery. Now we have some very updated images that show us the actual lightning within. So yeah, man, I like the new things. Out with the old and in with the new. Even although some of the old things are way better than the new ones for sure. But look at this, we're seeing some lightning over here on the eastern side. A lot of thunderstorms getting ready to push northward. I'm hearing the rainfall in my part of St. Thomas right now. So we're going to be checking in with the latest infrared, the latest Doppler radars, and I will be checking in with you in the comment section. As a matter of fact, I am going to try my best to go live up until the point where the power goes out. I'm anticipating a power outage, and I'm sure that many persons in Western Jamaica are going to be getting that power outage even before me, given that they're the ones who are going to be getting the system. So somebody just asked, how's my side? My side is wet. It's been on and off all morning, and I sound energetic. I only got 2 hours of sleep between 8 and 10, and I got 1 hour of sleep last night between 9 and 10. So I'm working basically on 3 hours total of sleep over the past, let's say, 36 hours.
Alex and Jenny have much more on the impacts.
Well, Category 5 Hurricane Melissa has Jamaica in its crossing. Melissa has Jamaica in. Well, Category 5. Category 5 Hurricane Melissa has Jamaica. Category 5 Hurricane Melissa has Jamaica.
Okay, so 401, I believe, 9.
Category 5 Hurricane Melissa has.
Alright, so basically what they did here was basically give us the history. That's a good one. Give it the history, yes. Let people know what's really going on. Alright, so I would say something along the lines of, in this video, the Weather Channel US basically gives us the history of hurricanes across Jamaica, or whatever the case may be, something along those lines. Those persons who don't really know what's happening, even the followers that are just joining, or the people in general, highlights the history of hurricanes across the island of Jamaica. Okay, so good. I'll just upload this, and then we're going to take off with a lot of details, updates, new models that are coming in, updates from the news stations, Jamaica Observer, Jamaica Gleaner, ODPEM, GIS, the live cameras, and we shall be doing that for the next 1-2 hours. Okay, so there's a lot more to come, so stay tuned.
Category 5 Hurricane Melissa has Jamaica in its crosshair.
No, sir. Highlights the history of hurricanes that have impacted or affected the island of Jamaica. That sounds better. or highlights Jamaica's hurricane history. Something along those lines. Getting very windy now. Getting very windy in my part of St. Thomas, so stay tuned. It's already uploaded on Instagram. Let's post it to our threads. Alright, so you notice I used the first hour to post everything on our other social media platforms. So any updates that are going to be coming out is the 1 p.m. update. So for the next 2 hours, the social media platforms are going to be dead. Okay. If anything, I'm going to invite people over to the live stream. Did I post it here already? I think so. Okay, good. It's everywhere now. Threads, Instagram. As a matter of fact, I want to open the Instagram and edit what was just posted. Okay, good. So let me use AI to create something. Okay. As I'm sure some people don't even know we're still live, no problem. So let's just create the image. And then yeah, so the next live stream from the Weather Channel, or yeah, the next recording from them, I'll definitely get it at 1, because everything else for the next 2 hours is going to be repeated with just some slight adjustments to the location of the system and how the satellite images are looking, as well as whatever the person who is on the ground from the Weather Channel is basically saying. So the last thing that I'm posting now is basically, inviting the people to join us. Alright, where is it? Does it seem like I didn't invite anybody on Twitter to the live stream? Oh yes, here it is. And it's still the same link from last night that we're going with. How do I get the entirety of it? Let me see. Did I post it here? No, I didn't. Did I post it here? Let me see. I must have posted it here on Instagram. Okay, this right here. The only problem with this live stream is that it is still saying Sunday night. Just to show that we've been going all night strong into Monday. Okay. So the only problem would be that people would think that what kind of title is this? Is this outdated? But they don't maybe are seeing, they're not maybe seeing that it is still live. We're still ongoing. So let us see. Did AI create something good? Still live on YouTube discussing the latest on Major Hurricane Melissa at Weather Jamaica. Alright, this is good enough. Thank you, AI. For those persons who hate AI, I don't know why. Big up on yourself. I love AI. So AI is the best thing since sliced bread, in my opinion. So, what's the time now? So let's say 8 a.m. Monday, October 27. We are live on YouTube with urgent updates. Alright, so let us invite the people who don't really realize that we're still live, because we're gonna go in depth for the next 2 hours. So I'm basically gonna do all of this on 3 hours of sleep total. 1 hour in the early part of the night and 2 hours just now before the 10 a.m. update. That's crazy. Okay. So Facebook, and I even want to post it on my stories. So I'm gonna take my phone, post it on my stories, because people have been saying that when it comes to the post that I make, because there are so many pages that they follow, they don't see the post when they scroll on their Instagram or their TikTok wall. So they're stating that I should just put it on their on our story, because then they would definitely see it. So I'm gonna post it on the Facebook story now. You know what, I'm gonna see if I can just use one post and just post it on the both of Instagram and Facebook stories one time. Let me see, story. You know what, I'm just gonna post it on Facebook, because even this morning, I don't know how I forgot, but even this morning somebody was like, where's the link, I want to watch it, when they were on one of our stories. So let me go and do it on my phone, so that they can click or tap the link to get over to Instagram, because Instagram is weird. Alright, so this is the Facebook story. So give me a second, let me sort out the, hold on, I have to send this information to myself. I mean, this is as formidable as a hurricane gets, guys. Look at the deep convection around her center of circulation. My goodness gracious. So give me a second. Let me post this on our story quickly, and then we shall be discussing the latest updates on Melissa, as well as any critical information being shared from the National Works Agency, the ODPEM, Jamaica Gleaner, Jamaica Observer, TVJ, CVM. Anything that is new and relevant and important. Give me a second right here. CVM posted 2 hours ago that a 6.8 earthquake affected sections of the Caribbean. That was way over there in the eastern Caribbean, just to the east of Guadeloupe and Montserrat and Dominica. I'll show it to you shortly. I'll load up USGS, but let me finish posting this on our story. Let me see something. Okay, good. Because boy, I hate using my phone. I wish certain things, this is what I'm talking about. Sometimes I wish the way in which it was easy to use your phone to do things is the same way, because they change it up in a certain way when you're using the desktop compared to the apps. It's really annoying. And they know they can actually make it now so that it's the same way on both, but no. They're forcing us to use our phones. So posting it now on Instagram, then I'm gonna post it on our TikTok. As a matter of fact, I'm going to be opening TikTok and going live on TikTok. Should I? Okay, good. So no more interruptions. So we're about to go. We're about to, quickly move off with the latest information here and there about the system that is Major Hurricane Melissa, Category 5 Major Hurricane Melissa. So for those of you who are just joining us, thank you for joining the live stream. Welcome to Weather Jamaica's YouTube channel. We're basically, discussing and giving the latest information, weather-related, accurate information about this formidable storm. So let us have a look at the latest wide infrared, the latest close-up infrared. You want to see the latest close-up of Jamaica. You want to see the latest Doppler radar imagery, Jamaican Doppler. See them? So many requests. The website is crashing all the time. We want to also load up the latest Cuban Doppler radar imagery, the latest Guantanamo Bay US Navy radar, the latest Cayman radar. Yeah, so we're also going to be checking in with these places, and I'm gonna be highlighting the places again that are susceptible to landslides. Okay, so I'm loading up Jamaica Information Service, ODPEM. That's Office of Disaster Preparedness and Emergency Management. NWA, just in case there's any news of anywhere that has been cut off or washed away or something of the sort. So they would be the one to tell us. If not, the Jamaica Constabulary Force. Okay. Because today is the day for that, Today is the day for that. So, any news that's coming out, excuse me, about such things, today is when you'd hear about it. Jamaica Gleaner, Jamaica Observer, CVM, TVJ. So, Gleaner, hold on. 1 second. Gleaner. Observer, I believe, what you call it, Nationwide Radio is another one. So many different news sources in Jamaica. Nationwide is another source. We also have TVJ. Where is TVJ? I know they're really active on Instagram. So TVJ, they're very active on Instagram, more so. I think from they lost their page when Twitter shut them down. I think they posted some misinformation, if I'm not mistaken, with Jamaica Observer. CVM is another one. Well, I think they're also active on their Instagram page as well. Okay, I don't know why it went way down here, but we want the updates anything, you know, that is current. So for the next 2 hours, we're basically going to be, you know, highlighting what's coming regarding the system. Bariko Pinto says, I'm totally confused. She moved north at any time. Yes, she can start moving north at any time. Okay, but as of right now, according to the satellite images, as you can see here, look at her. She barely is even moving right here. Let us reload it. We want to have the very latest satellite images to show, by the way. So look at where she was at the beginning of the imagery. So I want to use black, and then we're going to look at where she is at the end of the imagery. So she's somewhere right here, if I'm not mistaken. Alright, so somewhere right here at the beginning, then looking like at the end of the imagery, she's right there. So basically, definitely a westward trek over the past couple of hours, and we still see a lot of lightning within her eye. And
ever feel boxed in when working on your website layouts? With Elementor 327, we've completely redefined what you can do with grids. Imagine this. I'm stuck in this tiny container, but now with advanced column and row span controls, I can finally stretch out. Want to make an image stand out? Increase the column span. Need to emphasize some text? Adjust the row span. It's intuitive, precise, and all done directly in the editor. No coding, no headaches.
St. Thomas, and then our eastern parishes, especially we're talking about those parishes in the county of Surrey, like Portland, St. Thomas, Kingston, St. Andrew. And trust me, as soon as southern parishes and eastern parishes have gotten our share, it's going to be pushing north and west. Okay, so eventually it's going to be reaching the north coast. So you're talking about Hanover, St. James, Trelawney, St. Anne, St. Mary. And remember, although that's the pattern up until landfall, where everything is going to be changing, just like what they posted, where it looks like it's going to be coming in like this. Boy, it's going to be bad. Alright, so as stated, moving to the west right now, still has a lot of, you know, thunder, lightning here and there. As you can see, Jamaica is blanketed in clouds right now. We have oranges, reds, blacks here and there, but that does not necessarily mean that we're getting in on a rainfall. This is why we like to look at the latest Jamaican Doppler radar. So I'm glad that it loaded. A while ago it was telling me too many requests, so it wasn't trying to load. You know, we have a lot of people not only in Jamaica trying to load up the Doppler radar, but even in the United States. And we're glad that we also have the Cuban Doppler radar, the Pelon radar, the Guantanamo Bay US Navy radar, and the Cayman radar to look at to see what's happening, just in case one of these websites crash or chooses to break down for some reason. So if you're just joining us, welcome. Please ensure that you subscribe to the channel. Please ensure that you like up the live stream. Share the link. Okay, share the link. We're going to be going in depth about what's happening right now. So I want to tell you what I see happening in your area or what's expected shortly. And then I want you to confirm what you are seeing out there right now. So we just looked at the satellite imagery of the hurricane. So the latest satellite imagery of Jamaica, as stated, the latest one as of 16:05 UTC, which is actually 11:05 a.m. We see the entire island blanketed. As a matter of fact, earlier there was some amount of lightning right here across northwestern St. Elizabeth, but that quickly went away. But the latest Jamaican Doppler radar imagery still shows a quite formidable you know, major hurricane Melissa, category 5, down in here, still moving westward and spinning away. I mean, look at the amount of moisture. Hey, we should be lucky that the system is so far south, you know, because if it was just a few, you know, inches northward, we would be getting all of these crazy rain bands right now. Dark greens into the yellows into the golds. And the thing is, the more the system pushes northward slowly, when it starts to take that turn to the north, the more all of this heavy rain band activity on the east side, the nasty side of the system, is going to be pushing up into us. And we've already been getting in on some of the rain bands, more so on the light to moderate, if not slightly heavy side, across sections of, let us look at the latest one, by the way. So 1606Z, which is actually 1106. So as you can see, look at that. The latest imagery is, hold on then, where is it? I want to see the latest imagery. This right here, the 1606. So copy the image address and paste. What? Too many requests? Alright, no problem. Let us use what we're seeing here. So as you can see, it looks like we're getting in on some moderate to slightly heavy rainfall across sections of St. Elizabeth, Manchester. We also see some rain bands into portions of Trelawney. Looks like it's more on the light to moderate side. So to St. Anne, Clarendon, section of St. Catherine, section of Kingston, St. Andrew. I wonder if it is glitching or are we actually getting in on some rainfall across section of St. Thomas, Portland, St. Mary. Confirm for me, because that is what I'm seeing here according to the Cuban Doppler radar now. So let us reload this, that we have the very latest to show. The Cuban Doppler radar goes all the way out to, hold on, it's still reloading, so let us give it some time to show us the latest. Alright, it's finished. So the latest Cuban Doppler radar imagery is as of 11:50 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, which is actually 10:50 a.m. Jamaica time. And as you can see, we have the greens into, well, we have the light greens into the dark greens. That represents light to moderate rainfall, moderado here. On the Cuban Doppler radar site, represents moderate rainfall. And as you can see, I think I can make out the eye of the system down in here. Can you see it? And we can see the moisture pushing in from southwest, well, from southeast to northwest, as you can see right in here. So let's say a good chunk of the island is getting in on some light to moderate rainfall as we speak. So anywhere from St. Elizabeth eastward, Manchester, Clarendon, St. Catherine, Kingston, St. Andrew, St. Thomas, also the north coast, Portland into St. Mary, St. Anne, spilling into sections of Trelawney, getting in on some amount of rainfall as we speak. And we're glad that we also have the live cameras here to look at, to confirm what's taking place across these very areas. So you can go over to See Jamaica's YouTube channel yourself to see what is taking place regarding the live cameras right here, showing us what the weather is like. Looks like the downtown Mapping camera might be okay. It's still working, because trust me, for the cameras to go down, it is very possible today. Power outages, internet outages, because of the rainfall. I mean, look at the crossroads cam shaking. You can see the trees dancing. There's some wind taking place. So Kingston, looking, not really that wet right now. Not really that wet right now, but it has been wet so far. Clearly it's very windy down there as we speak. Downtown, soaking wet, but it doesn't seem like it's wet enough for this pedestrian here walking on the crossing to have his umbrella opened. So I'm guessing the rainfall has let up. Well, that was, hold on, let me look at the time. That was 10:36 a.m. The time is now 11:25. So it's important to look at the time, because sometimes it delays. So let us actually get up to date live. So this is what's happening right now. I see some raindrops here and there, and as such, we see some windshield wipers on right there. We have a whole hurricane coming, and we have dogs over here. My God. So as you can see, they're windy. There's some light rainfall, but light enough to cause the windshield wipers on some vehicles to be on right now in downtown Kingston. The Barbican live camera, one man right here on his bicycle, definitely soaking wet right here. What is happening in Crossroads live? Okay, not really much. Looking towards the southeast, you can see all of Kingston into southern St. Andrew, looking east now. This is what I like to see. I like to see the hills of eastern St. Andrew right in here, if not East Kingston. I like to see this. I wish it could pause, that we could see and understand what's taking place, but usually it just quickly passes through. Like, we want to see this. And there's something I've always wanted to say about this hill. You see, just like how in the United States you have something like this. When you look in the hills in Los Angeles, you see the Hollywood sign. Why is it that we can't have something in Kingston? You know, that would be so cool. If you can have a big sign that says Hollywood in Los Angeles. Why can't we have a sign when we look to the eastern portions of Kingston on this hill saying Kingston? I think it would be so cool. I understand that the topography and the altitude of the hill might be a problem, but something must can be done, man. What do you guys think about that? I think it would be so cool. We're looking to the east and those hills that we always see right here, just to the east of, we call that place Rockfort, and right to the east of the National Stadium. Like, something could have been done. Let me know what you think about that. Maybe having a whole big Kingston sign to the east. I'm glad to see that the Crossroads camera is actually spinning around and looking towards the sea and looking towards the hills again, because for the longest while I've been seeing it just stuck and look north. I'm glad to see it looking south again. Right, Denver said it would be so nice to have a sign in Kingston, right? Arch saying waste of money, that brother. You sure? Look at the sign that they built in Montego Bay, but welcome to Montego Bay. That was a waste of money. Machine millions of dollars for welcome to Montego Bay. No. I think that was more of a waste of money. So to have Kingston written in the hills of Kingston, that would have been a nice little thing right there. That would be special in a way. What? I don't know, said over there to pop down for that. Denver said, but the rain events might destroy it. Not necessarily if it is built properly and they know what they're doing. Something could be done. I hope that I'm putting the idea in somebody's head. You know. Matthew stated, is it still on path to hit land? Yes, Matthew. The system is still on path to hit land, unfortunately. So I realized that I went straight to the satellite imagery and I went straight to the Doppler radar. And I really didn't go straight to the latest update here from the Hurricane Center. So let me reload the latest update because it's still showing the 8 a.m. update. So let me reload it right in here. So we have the 11 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time update, which is actually the 10 a.m. Jamaica time update. So let us zoom in. Let us also reload. Where are the other images that I want to reload from the Hurricane Center's website? Let's see. There are some other images like the past track, the hurricane and tropical storm force winds, if the rainfall forecast has been updated. And I believe the warning cone is already loaded, but let us load it again just in case I'm going to be looking at outdated info. So here we go. So as of the latest update here on Hurricane Melissa, she is now moving towards the west at 3 miles per hour, packing maximum sustained winds of 165 miles per hour. Okay, so as a matter of fact, let me open up the TikTok live so I can do both live stream on TikTok as well as on YouTube all at once. So I'm just gonna give the TikTok people a little bit of the live stream, even though I'm sure they must be watching somebody else's live stream by now. So let me get this Bandicam thing out of the way. So let me load up let me load it up. Load up TikTok. So as of right now, she's still moving towards the west, but she has slowed down. Remember, overnight she's been moving at around 5 miles per hour. Now she's slowing down, moving at 3 miles per hour. And I wouldn't be surprised if she becomes stationary at some point before she makes the turn. You know, she's gonna break up before she makes the turn. She is yet to make the turn. And I've been watching the Hurricane Center's forecast all morning, and their forecast is showing more of a northwestward trek eventually, and that is what they're predicting from this point, a northwestward trek. But what is the current movement according to the Hurricane Center? Moving towards the west, still along this line right here. So apologies for the noise in the background. I don't know what they're doing outside. I have no idea, and it's not like I can say turn off that. Alright, so let's go. I mean, look at the formidable hurricane. Can see the sea from the satellite. Now a Cat 5. Oh my goodness. And it's huge. And it's moving so slow. and it has a lot of moisture on the southern and eastern side. So even when the system is to the north of us, she is going to be sending us even more moisture. The fact that even more moisture wants to form, because if you remember earlier, it was void of moisture and the moisture was more so focused in the hurricane as well as across the eastern section, but now clearly forming a tail. So you know, sometimes a kind of trophy kind of pattern, even wetter conditions could even follow after the system has pushed to the north. We'll see. But as I've stated, the latest here from the Hurricane Center has the system showing that it is packing 165 mile per hour winds. And one of the systems that pack anywhere from, well, anywhere that is greater than 157 mile per hour winds are classified as category 5 hurricanes. And there has been a lot of talk about the pressure that the system has. Where is it? Maybe it's on the interactive. Is the interactive showing the pressure? I think so. Let's zoom in a bit. Alright, so the pressure is right now 908 millibars. Okay, and when we look back at the Saffir-Simpson wind scale, we know that anything that is less than, you see the differences? Greater than sign over here, less than over here. So anything that is less than 920 millibars on this old SS scale, basically category 5 strength. So it's way down there if it is showing 908 millibars right now. Definitely a cat 5 for sure. I can't believe this. If you'd had showed me this a month ago, I wouldn't believe it, but here we are. It's expected to push northwestward, then northeastward, and still make landfall over here in what looks like St. Elizabeth, if I'm not mistaken. And that's the thing, I don't understand. Why is it that the latest update from the Weather Channel meteorologists are saying that, oh, Kingston is going to be spared because it looks like it's going to be doing something like this instead? And they sound so confident about it. But the thing is, remember, the cone of uncertainty extends from right here in the blues all the way over to this side, even in Kingston over here to Portland. So anywhere within this cone right here is susceptible to the landfall. So it could still cross into St. Catherine, giving Kingston the eastern eye wall. It could still cross over into why am I drawing the line like that? Let me draw the lines better. So it could still cross over into southern Clarendon, into St. Catherine, into Kingston, into Portland like this. It could still cross over into, let's say, Manchester, into Clarendon, into St. Mary. It could still cross, well, it could still thread the needle or trace the line that the Hurricane Center had drawn, basically the mean of all of the models. It could actually, because of the slow movement, maybe do another thing over here, maybe push more westward. Anything can play. Maybe northwestern St. Elizabeth into St. James. Anything can happen. Westmoreland, Hanover, St. James. Anything can be at play. So don't run with what the Weather Channel is saying. Remember, the system is moving slowly, and there are going to be adjustments in the track at the, if not 10 a.m., the 4 p.m., if not the 10 p.m., the 4 a.m. updates. Okay, and even although we are running out of time right now, trust me, the location that the models, if not the Hurricane Center, has the system making landfall.
VFly is a company that helps your YouTube videos go viral using Google Ads, which is VFly's website. So it turns out that VFly is trustworthy. VFly is against using bots, and they help you get real people engaged in your content. Easy to promote a video. Click promote a video and paste your YouTube video with 632 views. Click it and click on the word share. Click right there and paste your link like this. Click promote now, and there's the link we just pasted. Besides views, they can help you get more subscribers, likes, comments, webs. Click here, but I'm not cool enough to have one yet. Click preview ad to see how your ad will look like when someone searches on YouTube or when they are watching a related YouTube video like yours. And as a commercial on YouTube. At 12:30 in the morning, the video was under review about 20 minutes later. My campaign started 7 hours later with 20 views. Not sure why this says 8, but the campaign completed the same day.
On AM and the 8 AM update is that those are the intermediate advisories. So those won't change the track, the projected path of the system like this. Those updates at the 1 and the 8, those won't change the track. All they will change is the position of the system, where it has moved to. Maybe the wind field, tropical storm force wind field, if not the hurricane force wind field. The direction that the system is moving would change. Maybe the speed that the system is moving, the pace at which it is moving at. So if it was 3, maybe it jumps to 5. And sometimes the wind speeds can change as well. But as it relates to the projected path would remain the same up until the 4 p.m. update, or the 10 p.m. update, or the 4 a.m. update, or the 10 a.m. update. Okay, so I'm a bit confused as to why they're saying that Kingston is not going to get it. Kingston looks like it's going to be getting it still. I don't really see any change between the 5 a.m. and the 10 a.m. that we just got at all. So the Weather Channel is throwing people off in a way. I didn't like that Dr. Postel stated at all, because what he was looking at something that looks a lot like one of these specialized supercomputer models, and we know that there could be a margin of error within these. So for example, this is the 6th run of the H-Wharf today. Okay, as a matter of fact, let's just reload it. Did the 12Z run come out yet? No, not yet. But this is what I'm referring to. So this is what the H-Wharf is saying that could happen. Push northward and then push northeastward. Alright, something like this into St. Elizabeth, and then push northeastward. The eye may be crossing into St. James, and then yes, clearly most of the crazy category 4, category 5 winds would be closer to the center, and as such leaving Kingston, you know, only experiencing heavy rainfall and tropical storm force winds. Still a bad thing, by the way, but there is still a margin of error. Remember, the system is moving slowly right now. It still hasn't made that northward turn. So what if it continues to move westward, or what if it stops right now and remains stationary for a couple of hours? Remember how unpredictable Melissa has been so far, and then it say, all right, you know what, I'm ready now, and then it starts to push more northeastward, and then it's more so central to eastern parishes getting in on it. I think that was a bit careless in a way of what Dr. Postel stated, that it's gonna be just west. Well, it's within the next 24 to 36 hours, so we shall see if that actually verifies, or will there be any errors. Maybe the Hurricane Center is very confident about this. Here we have another one, the 6Z Hafsby, basically the same path into southwestern Jamaica, St. Elizabeth especially. But what they were showing on the update from the Weather Channel, it looks a lot like this one, looking like it's going more so into northwestern St. Elizabeth. As a matter of fact, it looks even more so different. Let me see if I can find it. Let me see if I can find it. I'll show you, because I don't know why it looked like that, so different from everything else that I've seen. Let me find it, because it really threw me off. Alright, let me find it exactly. Where is it? So I just posted it an hour ago. Okay, this right here. Yeah, and if let's listen to what he was stating right here.
This. Now, the area in blue, these are tropical storm force winds. According to this one model, the area in red, or the hurricane force winds are according to this one model. And those are here even as we go until 9 o'clock tonight. There's perhaps some of the locations that you might find familiar. If you've ever been to Jamaica or have interest there, this is a good point of reference. As we go into tomorrow morning, we could see extremely destructive hurricane force winds again in the eye wall. Probably not so much outside of the eye wall, but in the eye wall. And certainly even on the north shore here, those winds in Montego Bay, for example, don't sleep on those. Those are going to be very significant as well as they're coming.
All right, let's pause it right there. Do you see where the eye is coming in? It looks like eastern Westmoreland, northwest St. Elizabeth. And boy, I'm hungry. I'm first some breadfruit right now. And I'm thinking about the breadfruit, you know. I'm sorry. But you see what I'm saying? And when we look at these models, it's looking like it is making landfall into St. Elizabeth, more so in line with the line here from the Hurricane Center. So I'm wondering, when did the Hurricane Center say that it is going to do this? Because this is what it looks like from the Weather Channel. Boy, it's a bit confusing. But as of right now, I'm working with what the Hurricane Center has been showing. Let us see if we get any new trends to come out at the 4 p.m. update. You know, that is the next time that the actual track is going to change. And then I am sure that the moment the track changes, if it changes, if it doesn't and remains the same, no problem. But let us see what the Weather Channel is going to say later on today. Okay, as of right now, this is what Dr. Postel is stating, and it really threw me off. Yeah, so if you're just joining the live, welcome. We're still watching a major hurricane Melissa right here. We have the infrared pulled up. Boy, the way Melissa look, I might just have to change my DP to her. Yeah, my DP has been Ivan for the longest while, and I can't believe this. Melissa is about to take a picture with Jamaica, because boy, if she actually makes landfall looking like this, she gonna become the DP, you know. She's gonna be the new DP, because look at Ivan, my DP that I have for Ivan, my display picture. Ivan was basically out at sea. Even although the convection with Ivan was ridiculous. I mean, look at all of the whites. That's some deep convection, you know. I am here to see that with Melissa. I'm seeing the whites, yes, but clearly Ivan was another monster, and Ivan was bigger for sure. Melissa is small, and that's why Dr. Postel might be saying that because of the compact nature of it, that's why maybe the hurricane force winds would extend mainly across sections of the western end and then push northeastward. But to me, I think that the hurricane force winds are wide enough to actually make it into portions of Kingston, maybe even St. Thomas, Portland. So don't just run with what the models have been saying or any updates like that. Just plan like the hurricane is gonna hit you, your parish, and make landfall. Okay. Yeah, so these are the latest infrared satellite images. As a matter of fact, let us reload the very latest one. So this one right here that I just loaded up, this one right here just came out at 16:35 UTC, which is actually 11:35 AM. So this just came out 10 minutes ago, considering that it is 11:45 AM right now. And as you can see, it's right here, a lot of lightning within it. Central dense overcast, blacks, whites, grays, purples, pinks in there to the southwest of the island. Still moving towards the west according to what the Hurricane Center is stating, and even according to satellite images, because we can actually see that westward movement. But whoo, look at that. Did you see that? I wonder if that is a actual lift beginning to start to the north. Did you see that at the end there? Let me show you what I'm referring to. So at the beginning of the run, it was right about here, and then we saw a dip right here, and then a little jog to the north. Is that the beginnings of the system starting to make that turn, that northwestward turn? If so, that means, I believe, if this continues over the next 1.5 hours, then the 1 p.m. update would say, oh, she's moving now no longer to the west, but maybe towards the west and northwest. If that actual lift that we're seeing, I wonder if anybody else is seeing that little lift, or is it too zoomed out to see for sure? Do we have to zoom in a bit more? Because I have no problem with doing that. Hold on, let me zoom in a bit more, because we have the capability of doing that. So let's zoom in a bit more. Alright, no, I want to zoom out a bit. I zoomed out a bit too much. Alright, 1 second. What I want to do is use the edge of the screen as the benchmark for the east-west. Okay. Alright, so let me do it like this right in here. Alright. All right, let's zoom out one last time. Zoom in. Zoom in. All right, zoom in. All right, good enough, I think. So let us get the loop. So what I'm saying is that, you know, east to west is definitely in line with this line right here. So what is really happening now? The system is right here. We have Jamaica right here, by the way, you know, engulfed in clouds. But what is it doing? We see it started out right here, right in here. It started out right in here. We see it looks like it started dipped southward, or is that just a wobble? Or, you know, is it actually moving westward? And is it actually dipping southward and then lifting back to the northwest to start making that turn? Or is that just actually nothing and it's just actually moving to the west? You tell me, what do you think is really happening there? Is it starting to move and starting to make that turn like nobody wants it to happen? Okay, we have Maxim agreeing with me, saying a bit. It looks like, okay, so it could be a wobble, it could be a turn, anything, because remember what the hurricane centers projected. Okay, job stated that Messiah movement, yes, looks like it's lifting for real, man. Barbara said yes, a tiny northward wobble. Maxim stating it's moving northwest. And the thing is, you see, if it continues with that northwestward path or movement, then it would be reflected in the hurricane center's next update. Remember the last update that we just got, the 11 a.m. update that we just got, you know, stated that the system is moving towards the west at 3 miles per hour. So any little, you know, push towards the northwest, for those persons who are just joining us, northwest. So this is what it's moving towards right now, towards that line right here, the west. Okay, northwest, according to what the projected path states, is what it should starting to do if it wants to actually make that landfall into us. There it is. Kind of looks more west northwest ish. Okay, then more so north. Is this north? Definitely north. Then more so northeast to make that landfall into southwestern parishes. What a storm. So we just looked at the infrared, we're looking at the path. What about the latest Doppler radar images? What is the weather like in your area? And what are the latest updates from some of these sites, these news sites across Jamaica? What are the latest updates? So let us load up Met Service. It's metservice.gov.jm. You can literally open Chrome on your phone right now and go on it yourself. All of these websites are available to the public. You know, it's not like say, oh, Weather Jamaica is the only person with access. All of us, every website with a weather map or whatever, everybody with an internet connection or a phone has access to all of these tools. So it's metservice.gov.jm. Then when we go to the home page, we just click radar image here. Is it gonna load? It looks like it's taking its sweet time to load, but I don't blame it. As I stated, it's not only us here in Jamaica that are using the Doppler radar image, but even persons in the US. As a matter of fact, the Hurricane Center themselves are using the Doppler radar to make decisions and make forecasts if they're not flying out into the system. Alright, so the Doppler radar has loaded, and now we're going to be loading up the latest. This is the latest 1641Z. Okay, so let me load it up right in here. 1641Z. There we go. Good. So 1641Z, if you don't know by now, they use Zulu time for these radars and these satellite images. So that would be 5 hours ahead of us. Okay, so -5 from that 16, you'd get 11. So it's 11:41. So that image just came out 10 minutes ago, considering that it is 11:51 a.m. right now. And as you can see, the latest Jamaican Doppler radar image shows the entire island blanketed in some amount of rainfall. You know, we're talking about what we see here on the key on the left. Okay, this key over here. Let me get this out of the way. So you know, the light greens into the dark greens, we're talking about light to moderate rainfall. The yellows into the gold into oranges into red. You're talking about heavy to very heavy, or even the reds, extremely heavy rainfall. And we've been seeing some of these reds immediately around the eye. So that's the eye wall, and how the winds and the rainfall in a category 5 eye wall can be. We're talking about, think about a fire hose, the type of rain, not type of rain. So imagine a fire truck comes and they're spraying the water, and it's trying to put out a fire, so they're having it on blast. That is the kind of spray and the force that the rainfall is being blown at because of the strong winds in a category 5. Okay, crazy enough to rip roofs off, blow glass windows out. Trust me, I remember somebody came on the live stating that when they were in St. Elizabeth, their ears were popping when Beryl was passing through the eye wall and brushing them. Because trust me, many of you don't even know how significantly Beryl affected the island. Significantly. Every time I'm going to highlight the Beryl path. So Beryl went like this across the Caribbean, and then it basically brushed us. Didn't really make landfall. But this is the Cuban Doppler radar imagery of the system, and as you can see, the eye wall scraped Manchester into St. Elizabeth, and then we had the crazy damage that took place. Lots of roofs were blown off. This is Teach Them's YouTube channel. A lot of roofs were blown off. So we're talking about scenes like this. So many people who don't have concrete roofs, they are definitely going to be blown off. I mean, look at a house like this one. I remember back in the day they would advertise roofs like this and say, oh, these are the hurricane proof roofs, these can't blow away. And then look at that, gone. If anything at them here around the place, slab top concrete roofs. Look at a house like this and the roof gone. All of your furniture and equipment damaged or soaked or whatever the case may be. And apparently, if this thing makes landfall as a category 5, and keep in mind that this was category 4 strength, and mind you, when Beryl was passing us, she was weakening. She was weakening when she was passing us. Okay? And then by the time she passed us good, she actually downgraded back to a cat 3. Because look at the path, by the way. So depression, tropical storm in the sky blues. Then we have hurricane status in the light yellows. Then we have cat 2 hurricane in the yellows. Then we have cat 3 hurricane in the orange. Then we have cat 4 hurricane in the what looks like red. Then we have cat 5, remember, in the eastern Caribbean, it became a cat 5 in the purples. Then back to cat 4 right here to the south of Hispaniola. Then on her trek towards us, maintaining that cat 4 status, and then she started to endure some wind shear, and that was when she started to lose her strength on her way to the Yucatan Peninsula. So she was passing out as a category 4. Okay, so especially her inner core had the category 4 hurricane winds. Okay. Alright, so let's just continue. This system is serious as a judge. This hurricane is all about making money. No. We've been doing this for years. Sheriff Rose. Trust me. I've been wanting, people to, help to build the channel in general. I'm actually doing this for safety, to be honest. Okay. All right. Oh my God, it's going to be a lot of rainfall. A lot of rainfall. We've been talking about the rainfall totals. Ridiculous. That's expected to push up into us. Place is gonna flood. Alright, so what are the news agencies stating? So nationwide, let us reload. What's taking place now? Several areas across Jamaica, this was posted 35 minutes ago, by the way. Several areas across Jamaica continue to be affected by the early effects of Hurricane Melissa. In one area of central Manchester, a section of the road collapsed, leading to equipment being brought in to remove a car from the hole. Areas of the parish are without electricity. What? Collapse already and nothing really start yet? And they said that a car had to be removed from the hole. What? That's crazy. This was posted 1 hour ago. What is this? The Jamaica Constabulary Force JCF says it can call on approximately 14,000 members as part of their disaster response as Jamaica braces for Hurricane Melissa. Okay, that's good. Anything else? Football, cricket. Okay, and everything else 2 hours ago. What is the Jamaica Observer saying? Let's reload and see what the latest is from them. Alright. Rainfall and strong winds 6 minutes ago too. Rainfall and strong winds are seen in Treasure Beach, St. Elizabeth, as a resident captures the stormy conditions from her veranda, while in Rocky Point, Clarendon, similar scenes unfold with relentless gusts as Hurricane Melissa passes the island. Alright, so here are the footages. Let's see.
This is from my veranda. This is from my veranda.
Alright, so I just found another person. So that's Jamaica Observer. Hold on. Let me, because I'm looking at my phone too, you know. So there's more footage coming out. Damian Mitchell. Let's see what he posted. Mitchell. There we go. So he just posted Berry Hill, South Manchester. As a matter of fact, that's not the video. So, alright, so he's basically reposting what the latest that Josh Margaman stated. We want to hear that as well. I'm gonna explain about him if you're just joining the live. So where is that with this? Alright, this is expected. Banana trees are gonna suffer. So what did the post say? It stated strong winds associated with Hurricane Melissa have been pounding South Manchester communities. Some residents report that already their banana and other trees have been flattened. The Category 5 storm is expected to make landfall. Alright, so let us look. And this is just the beginning, you know. And look out for Melissa there. Alright, there was another video here. So before I show you Josh Margaman, he is actually a hurricane chaser. Trust me, this man has been doing this for years, chasing hurricanes like Category 4 or 5 all over the world. From the Western Pacific, we have Japan, where they're called super typhoons, to the Caribbean. And the fact that this man is actually here in Jamaica right now to chase a storm. So if you don't know him, he's iCyclone on Twitter and iCyclone on YouTube. So I suggest that you go over to his YouTube channel and subscribe to him, because trust me, as soon as Melissa is done, he's going to have some nice footage, and he always ensures that he plants himself in the perfect era that the system should be making landfall, so that he experiences the eye wall. So he's going to be on the front end of Melissa's wrath in general, okay? And he stated that he's going to be in Treasure Beach. So let us hear what he stated in this latest post from him that Damian retweeted. It's 1 minute and 36 seconds. So let us listen.
All right, it's about 8:30 a.m. in Deville, and the wind is starting to pick up, starting to feel the effects of Hurricane Melissa. Now, I'm not going to candy coat this situation. It's serious. We got a Category 5 hurricane coming. weather's going to sort of build during the day. It's going to be very stormy by tonight, and probably the worst of it is going to be tomorrow morning. Now, I've been through a bunch of extreme hurricanes all around the world, including 5 Category 5s. So I wanted to share a couple of tips for how I've gotten through those experiences in one piece. All right. First off, make sure that you're high enough above sea level if you're along the coast. All right, Melissa's going to cause a storm surge of up to 13 feet or about 4 meters with crashing waves on top of that. You want to make sure you're higher than that. Okay, number 2, make sure the house or building you're in is strong enough to withstand some extreme winds, okay? And before the hurricane, know what your safe room is, okay? So if damage starts to happen, if a window breaks, door blows off, a wall comes down, know where you're going to go. Do you have some small interior room, maybe a little hallway, a closet that you can get inside? The trick is to get as many walls as possible between you and the wind. All right, and finally, don't base your decisions about Melissa on what you've experienced in the past in Jamaica, because Melissa's going to be much stronger than any hurricanes that have hit this place in living memory. So I'm including Gilbert in 1988, Beryl last year. Melissa's going to be much stronger than all of those. I know y'all are going to get through this just fine. I'm going to get through it with you, and good luck.
Okay, good. So I'm scrolling through Instagram. I'm scrolling through there are a lot of pages here. Watch it. Jesus, I hope everybody is keeping safe. When was this posted? 17 hours ago. Okay. I don't want to see that. I don't want to see that either. But CVM. Let's go to CVM. I see something from CVM. So let us reload it. What are they showing here on CVM? Alright. Curlin Brown is here. Let us hear what they are saying in this.
That's not me just moving. No, man. To show you how strong the wind is. I'm not trying to move by myself, honestly. Okay. And I'm about 150 something pounds. Right? Okay. Let me try and put this on. It was really harder. But if I turn that way, it's really, the wind is coming, it's more hitting me from behind. Yes. Yes. Woo! All right. Go, girl. Okay, so we left Ocho-Rios and we're now in Port Maria. And can I tell you, just to simply get this part of my rain cloak on was so hard. The wind is picking up speed. Actually, our videographer's hat blew away. I'm not sure. There's a slight drizzle. Wow, I'm literally out of breath because we had to run across the street here. Very few motorists on the road, but when we were coming here, we saw persons moving about. We saw one farmer going about with his goats. If you can look and you can see what's happening out there on the sea, it by itself is telling a story. Well, the trees are literally having a great dance time right now. I don't know if they're doing the Della move or the reggae, but the trees are also telling their own story. To be using an umbrella right here would be ridiculous. The umbrella cannot withstand this wind. We just want to, again, encourage persons to be careful as they go about, and we are trying to do that also. Woo! That's not me just moving.
Okay, good. Alright, so I really want to highlight something else. The founder of tropicaltidbits.com, this website that will always show the satellite images, well, not satellite images, the URAN, the GFS supercomputer models, the HWRF, the HAFS-A, the HAFS-B. This guy just posted a video. He's Dr. Levi Cohen, PhD, meteorologist. Just posted a video, the latest on Melissa. I want to hear what he has to say. I'm sure, trust me, all of the experts and the enthusiasts about weather, this is the person that we look to. Many of you look to other weather platforms on YouTube, but trust me, this is the person that we want to hear from, because trust me, when he speaks about the weather, he gets, very technical, and he tries to explain it as best as he possibly can with the meteorological terms. Trust me, this is the person that you want to hear from. He knows his stuff. Okay, I've been watching his videos from like 2010 when we had that was Tropical Storm Nicole, a crazy flood event that year, and this guy predicted it perfectly that we'd have gotten some good rain from Nicole. I would never forget. From 2010, I've been watching him, and he went on ahead and created a nice site for everybody to load up these supercomputer models to tell us when a system is coming in general. So let us watch his video as we prepare to find out what the 1 p.m. update is going to show us in the next 53 minutes from now. So it's about 12 minutes long, so let's go. I really want to hear what he has to say, so you can hear too.
Yeah, October 27th. We're watching what is unfortunately an incredibly dangerous situation for the island of Jamaica here in the Caribbean, with Major Hurricane Melissa becoming a Category 5 hurricane to the south of the island as it moves towards the west-southwest, nearing its maximum potential intensity at this point, becoming a major hurricane as expected, and has not actually stopped intensifying yet over the past 24 hours, with a rather steady trend towards stronger winds and lower central pressure in aircraft observations. This is the latest from the Air Force plane that's currently flying through the storm, showing the latest dropsonde in the center, measuring a pressure of 912 millibars lower, means a stronger storm. The surface wind associated with that measurement was actually about 36 knots, which indicates the sonde missed the center by a little bit. So the actual estimated minimum pressure now is 908 millibars. That's the lowest we've seen so far. Flight level winds in the dark salmon colors here were as high as 160 knots or 185 miles per hour from the aircraft. If you estimate what the surface wind is based on that, it's about 165 miles per hour, making this a solid Category 5 hurricane. This is a composite swath from the NOAA Hurricane Hunter aircraft that was in the storm just before the Air Force aircraft was. You can see on the right-hand panel here the wind about 2 kilometers above the ocean surface. Everything in purple is hurricane force or above. The good news about this storm, I guess, is that the wind field is relatively compact. Hurricane force winds only extend outward about 30 miles from the eye. So in terms of wind impact, it really matters where you are relative to the center of the storm. The eye wall is where the Category 5 winds are confined, and that's only a 10 nautical mile wide eye at this point. That could theoretically change if the storm undergoes an eye wall replacement cycle before landfall, which typically leads to a broadening of the core wind field. And if we look at the radar composite from the plane, there's the inner eye wall there. There is some banding in the outer core around the eye wall that could eventually culminate in the formation of a secondary eye wall and a secondary wind maximum. We haven't yet seen that, though. If we look back at the right-hand panel, if you look at the center of the storm and go outward in really any given direction, you'll see that the wind speed decreases essentially monotonically with distance from the center. So we don't have a secondary wind ring. If we were to get one, though, we would likely see the beginnings of an eye wall replacement wherein the inner eye erodes a little bit, the maximum wind comes down from its current Category 5 levels temporarily, an outer eye wall may build and then eventually replace the inner one, and then possibly a re-intensification of the storm with a larger eye at the end of the process. That can take 24 to 48 hours on average. This is a smaller storm, so it could complete maybe a little quicker than that, but we haven't yet seen one begin in earnest. On infrared satellite imagery, we have seen some trochoidal wobbling of the eye, just slightly less than straight motion, little wobbles as it moves towards the southwest, which can indicate the beginnings of some instability in the core that could lead to an eye wall replacement, but that process has not yet clearly begun. We're about 24 hours now from the anticipated landfall time in Jamaica, so we'll see if that occurs. But from this point forward, we are expecting a very major catastrophic hurricane with any fluctuation in intensity likely to be governed by internal dynamics, either that eye wall replacement that I just discussed, or slight variations in the ocean temperature beneath the storm, or small disruptions due to vertical shear in the environment. But really, it's all plus or minus on something that's going to be incredibly strong and dangerous, regardless of the exact value of the maximum winds in the eye wall as it comes ashore. We are expecting a turn towards the north any time now today. Within the next several hours, we'll likely see that. You've seen the west-southwesterly motion so far. A turn towards the north-northeast is expected later today, bringing this into the western half of Jamaica. And the reason we're expecting that turn is if we look at the GFS 500 millibar mid-level steering flow at this time. Again, we have two competing steering flows. One is this ridge over the Straits of Florida and Western Caribbean, which has been imparting this northeasterly flow on the storm and helping to force it towards the southwest, competing with the broader ridge over the Eastern Caribbean, which is generating steering flow out of the south the opposite direction. And this trough over the southern U.S. is now moving across Florida or to the north of Florida in a way that is eroding this ridge in here. So this is now disappearing, and this northeasterly steering influence on Melissa will go away. And so at some point, we start to see it turn back towards the north because this ridge erodes in a way that allows the ridging out here to essentially win the steering battle, as it were, and start to push Melissa back towards the north. We're at the part of the forecast now where this is a certainty. We know that this turn is going to occur. It's just about plus or minus how many miles in the landfall point will the storm actually cross the coastline. But right now this track is pretty iced in. You can see the GFS here bringing the storm just over the western half of Jamaica here. Every model does make landfall in that part of the island. We've seen the forecast wobble back and forth the last few days. It was closer to Kingston a couple of days ago. We have seen the track shift just a little bit more towards the western side of the island in the last couple of days. So if you're in Kingston, you know, that will help just because of how compact that wind field is. I can show you how that might look on the HAFS A model here. This shows the wind field. Everything in purple is hurricane force wind. The Category 5 catastrophic winds are confined to the dark pink region of the eye wall here. You'll see the storm make this turn towards the north-northeast, and once you superimpose this on the island of Jamaica, you can kind of see where the most destructive wind field is, and it will not encompass the entirety of the island. So if you're in Kingston, this is at least some good news for that part of Jamaica. Obviously not for the western side, but this is going to be a storm that covers the island with other hazards, even if not the eye wall itself. There's going to be heavy rains and storm surge across many parts of the island, regardless of exactly where the eye comes ashore, with the catastrophic wind damage largely confined to the area around the landfall, whichever half of the island that is right now. The western half is where landfall is expected, and given that we're only about 24 hours out, that's likely to be the case. You can see that the eye is now due south of the western part of the island, so you can tell that if it were to make a turn today, it would have to hook pretty sharply to make landfall anywhere other than this half of the island right here. So that is where the landfall is expected right now. If we look at the sea surface temperature map from that HAFS model, one thing to point out here is that, you know, typically a hurricane moving this slowly and making this kind of hooking motion would be cooling the ocean beneath it in a significant way. That would normally limit the storm quite a lot, but unfortunately the Caribbean is a unique place. The warm water here is excessively deep, and it takes a lot of time to drain that energy out of the ocean. So even as Melissa has been intensifying to a major hurricane and moving at a crawl to the southwest, there hasn't been that much cooling. There is a little bit. You see the orange and yellow showing up here, but it's really not that significant, which is why the hurricane is able to top out at Cat 5 and remain there. As it turns toward the north, you'll see that during this slow turn, there's a slight bit of extra upwelling, and that could cause some fluctuations in the intensity. But as it moves towards the island itself, it's over warm water again, and it's really not a severe limitation on the storm, unfortunately. So this could very well be Category 5 at landfall, barring any kind of eye wall replacement cycle that temporarily lowers the max winds. And if we look back at the steering forecast here, this is the GFS showing that turn towards the northeast, and this will simply continue this motion. So this is going to bring this through Jamaica and then across eastern Cuba and portions of the southeastern Bahamas, and then on up in the vicinity of Bermuda, which is right there. This subtropical jet stream provides an easy lane towards the northeast, which makes this track forecast relatively straightforward, with just some minor adjustments in the track likely from here on out. So you see this move over the central part of eastern Cuba and then through the southeastern Bahamas, possibly uncomfortably close to the Turks and Caicos. Details on the track here will certainly matter given how compact the wind field is, though it will likely be a little bit broader by the time it gets to the Bahamas, because the land disruption caused by Jamaica and Cuba will cause the wind field to grow in size a little bit. And as the storm starts moving northward into the jet stream, that will also cause the wind field to grow. You can see this big trough over the eastern U.S. providing this lane northeastward, so this will accelerate through the Bahamas and then on up toward the vicinity of Bermuda. Models are both to the east and to the west or over the island, so some spread there. Best case scenario for the island would be passing to the east because this side will be weaker in terms of the wind impacts. If it were near or west of the island, impacts would be more significant, but this remains about 4 days out at this point. Expected passage is on the morning of October 31st or so. You can see that the upper level wind flow at this point will show the hurricane moving up into some southwesterlies. Aloft, wind shear will be increasing. The storm will be knocked down a little bit by the high terrain of Jamaica and Cuba, so it will be weakened by the time it moves through the Bahamas, possibly weaker than a major hurricane, so category 1 or 2, perhaps most likely in the Bahamas. And then not expecting that much re-intensification, maybe a little bit, but as it moves up towards Bermuda, wind shear will be increasing and the waters will be cooling in a way that prevents this from being a bona fide major hurricane by the time it makes it towards the island. We're pretty late in the year here, late October. Difficult to get a major hurricane this far north this time of year. This is the official forecast from the National Hurricane Center as of 11 a.m. Eastern Time on October 27th. You can see that turn towards the north and north-northeast expected. Landfall currently projected in the vicinity of Treasure Beach, Jamaica, on around or just after 8 a.m. Tuesday morning. There is still some plus or minus on this. The storm is moving relatively slowly. Some erratic wobbles can always occur with hurricane landfalls. You can see the rough cone of average uncertainty here, showing you where the range of possible landfall locations might reasonably be expected to be. Again, the catastrophic winds will be confined pretty close to the landfall point, but the entire island will see the other hazards from excessive inland flooding due to feet of rain that are falling now and will continue to fall over the next 24 hours over the island, and storm surge along the coastlines as wind pushes water ashore. This will begin accelerating towards the northeast and possibly still be a major hurricane when it moves over eastern Cuba, where we do have hurricane warnings in red here, and then hurricane watches for the central and southeastern Bahamas and Turks and Caicos. Again, some plus or minus on exactly where the hurricane will move through. Currently forecasted to move over Crooked Island on its way towards the northeast. That would be during the day on Wednesday. We still have a tropical storm warning for the Haitian coastline. We have continued to see heavy rain here. You can see all of the thunderstorm activity on the eastern side of the storm, right-hand side of your screen here, which extends well to the east of Melissa's eye and continues to rake southern Haiti with heavy rain. Landslides and flash flooding remain a big concern here, and you can see how much rain is expected to fall in the next 3 days, with maximum amounts, of course, over Jamaica at this point, with isolated amounts up to 2.5 feet over portions of the island, but also eastern Cuba, and an additional amount over southwestern Hispaniola. That's in addition to the feet of rain that have already fallen in portions of Haiti so far. So unfortunately, just a terrible flooding disaster occurring in these areas, widespread infrastructure disruption expected in these countries, and really hoping everyone stays safe here, especially in Jamaica, as the full gamut of possibly devastating hazards moves into the island over the next 24 hours. Hope everyone is prepared, hunkers down, and stays safe as Category 5 Hurricane Melissa gets ready to make its move on Jamaica. That's it for now. Thanks for watching.
All right. So, yep, that's the latest update here from Dr. Cowan about the latest, regarding Melissa. And trust me, you see how detailed he is. And the thing is, what I want to highlight? The fact that, yes, he said that the system could actually, do that northwestward track and then north and then make landfall in. And you heard what he said, somewhere around Treasure Beach in St. Elizabeth. And that's, remember, that is exactly where that guy, what's he called? That ice cyclone guy is going to be staying in St. Elizabeth. That's where he said that he's going to stay, even although he said that his headquarters is going to be in Manchester. Okay. Yeah, so there is a high chance of the system making landfall here. However, did you hear what he said in the last part? And when he said that, I'm glad that he said that, because that's what I've been saying along the whole time, saying that, or as much as the models are showing that the system could be making a path, especially over western, if not central parishes in Jamaica, over this side, you know, western parishes. We're talking about those parishes in the county of Cornwall, like Hanover, St. James, Trelawney, Westmoreland, St. Elizabeth. While central parishes, you know, we're talking about St. Anne, St. Mary, Manchester, Clarendon, and St. Catherine, and maybe spare eastern Jamaica. He also highlighted what we've been echoing all morning, that we cannot count out eastern Jamaica because the track right here, this is the track that the system could take. It is the cone of uncertainty. That's the name of it, uncertainty, for a reason, because they're not really sure exactly where in this here the system could go. Basically what they did was, you know, make a mean in the middle, okay, make a mean of all the models in the middle, okay. So as I've stated, it can go anywhere within this. It can do a thing like this, where it comes right towards eastern St. Andrew and Portland. It can do a thing like this, where it crosses over Clarendon into St. Catherine, Kingston, St. Andrew and Portland. It can do a thing like this, where it pushes northward and then northeastward, so Manchester into Clarendon, sections of, let's say, Portland into St. Mary. It can do another thing like this, pushing and then Manchester, Clarendon, St. Anne. Or it could actually, you know, trace the black line. It could do that, or it could actually go to the west of there, pushed and then go right here, St. Elizabeth, Trelawney, or push northward and go up northwestern St. Elizabeth, St. James, Trelawney. Or would it do something like this on the far western edge, you know, and actually, you know, push northward, like, you know, Hanover, Westmoreland side. Anything can be, you know, the result regarding a hurricane like this. And I'm glad that he also highlighted the fact that with a slow moving system like this, there could be wobbles, there could be changes. We've been saying that, but look at that, it's definitely starting to really lift now. And you know what's going to happen next? When it starts to lift, the atmosphere is going to respond. So those persons who haven't been getting real rainfall yet, now that it's starting to lift to the north, you can definitely see that northwestward lift. So it was right here at first. Let us reload it again. It's definitely starting to make that northwest movement now. Now things are gonna start getting real. So the system was right in here, and then it dipped a bit to the southwest. Then as you can see, what looks like a northwestward jog. I'm sure that isn't a wobble, because remember when we just saw it and I was asking, do you guys think that's a wobble, or do you guys think that is like, is the system actually starting to turn? Is that a wobble, or is the system actually starting to turn? Because boy, it's going to be a very bad situation if the system actually makes landfall, and it's looking even more so. Here the rain has started with hard breeze in my ear. As I stated earlier, I live in St. Thomas, as much as they're stating that it's going to be more so west into central. So I'm in the east over here, and I've been getting the rain and wind since yesterday, but now that they're stating that this is going to be coming up like this and then like this, and then, you know, the winds are going to be spinning around that area of low pressure, or that center of circulation like this. So that crazy hurricane force wind, especially across central and eastern Jamaica, going to be pushing towards the northeast. So some of this could definitely be in line in a sense like this, and then I'm going to be getting in on the tropical storm force winds across my part of the island in general. So we've been looking at the updates from the various news stations regarding the system, but as I stated, you know, we're going to be having developments throughout the day. That's why I have nationwide radio loaded up. Damian Mitchell, another news source, Jamaica Observer, Jamaica Gleaner, ODPEM. Let's see if they had any reports of landslides or flooding or cutoffs yet, because these are the people that you have to, look to. So they have a WhatsApp channel. So what did they post recently? All right, here we go. They've stated here, the police are advising, this was posted an hour ago, by the way. This was the Jamaica Gleaner, and the ODPM is reposting. Okay. The Jamaica Gleaner stated the police are advising the motoring public that the Bachelor's Hall main road in St. Thomas has become impassable due to flooding caused by rising water levels. I see that it started already. Motorists are urged to use alternative routes where possible. Anything else? ODPEMshelters.com. We highlighted this yesterday. So for those persons who aren't sure about their area, please ensure that you click the link or just go to www.odpem.org.jm/shelters, and you can, when you click the link, it will basically take you to this website. As a matter of fact, I already have it loaded over here. It will take you to this website right here, which has many red dots, and when you zoom in or click the plus sign over here on your specific parish, you will find out where exactly that shelter is located so that you can go. So Point Hill Primary School, more than likely most of the schools are going to be used as shelters, because most of them are built sturdy enough to withstand earthquakes, hurricanes, whatever the case may be. Even although some of them have zinc roof, and you remember what happened to that school in St. Elizabeth, was that Monroe that lost the roof. Hopefully they're putting the people in some strong parts of the school, if they have some slab tops in some parts of the school, and they're not prone to flooding. So speaking of earthquakes, I got news that there was an earthquake in the Eastern Caribbean recently. So let us reload and type in the USGS and see what the latest is. So I'm sure we're going to see a red or a yellow dot over there in the Eastern Caribbean. There we go. So first of all, the big one, followed by the aftershocks. So that was right here just to the east of Guadeloupe, or the east-northeast of Guadeloupe. Which one is the big one? Is this one? Is it this one? Yes, 6.5 magnitude, and with a 6.0 aftershock. The 6.0 aftershock, that's a big earthquake already, That's a strong earthquake. So 6.5 alone is strong, and then 6.0 is like 1-2 punch, but at least it is far enough from land that the crazy effects aren't that felt. Damage is usually expected from such earthquakes, for sure. For those of you who don't know, this is what I am referring to. So let us load up the this right here, the earthquake magnitude classes. So I really like to educate as we do these things. So when we have a 6.0 to a 6.9, that is considered as a strong earthquake. If you remember, a couple of days ago we had a light earthquake, and the Uemona earthquake unit said that it was a 4.2. So when it comes to damage or the shaking, likely felt. Okay, now with a 6.0 to 6.9, so we just had a 6.5 there, and then a 6.0 aftershock. So both of them are strong in general, so damage may occur. But the fact that according to the USGS, it is showing that it was mainly over the sea, that doesn't mean that they didn't feel the shaking and there might not have been damage, but definitely less damage than what would have taken place if it was taking place directly next to the land or over land. So I'm guessing it happened along this fault line right here, whose name I don't know, but it has a lot to do with the Caribbean plate though. And as you can see, the rest of the Caribbean, not really much happening apart from those few tremors. One across Puerto Rico, which is a, what is that, 2.9, as you can see here, and another one to the northeast of Puerto Rico, 3.4. We know Puerto Rico is a very seismic country already, so I guess that is it. 6.5, 6.0, and then another one to the west of it, that's what, 5.4. So that's about the same as the one that we had on October 30 in 2023, if you guys remember that earthquake. Alright, so yep, that's what's happening regarding the system. No, Kijani, trust me, there wouldn't have been a tsunami at all regarding that earthquake, especially considering that in the Caribbean we don't have the kind of plates in the Caribbean that would support crazy tsunami. Not to say that we can't have a 1 meter or 2 meter wave height tsunami, but that isn't even anything. Normally on a windy day we'd get a 2 meter wave height. Okay, so that's nothing to worry about. But what I'm saying is, when it comes to crazy tsunamis that crazy water pushing in, then you know that we're talking about as a type of fault. So let me find it. Fault Japan tsunami, something along those lines. Sometimes they see the video coming up, if not maybe a GIF. This is what I'm talking about. I wish it was a GIF instead, but this is what I'm referring to. These are the types of faults that cause the this is the one. So a video like this, let's just load up the video in general. Let's turn it down. So this is what I'm referring to. So you can basically have the plate, pushing back the land like this underneath the ground, and then eventually all of the stress is going to build up and then start to snap all the way back. So it's the ground floor pulling on the land, and then it's going to snap all the way back, and then that is how we get the crazy earthquake that causes a tsunami. And then there we go, snaps back. That is something similar to what happened in Japan, and then we had a tsunami. Waves went to land and waves went the other direction. And this is the type of the way in which we can literally have that kind of tsunami. Those are basically those earthquakes underneath like the ground like that. Those are called great earthquakes. We had one east of Japan in 2011 that was a 9.1 if I'm not mistaken, and then I believe we had another one in Indonesia, okay, that was on Boxing Day in 2004. And we remember that crazy Boxing Day flooding that took place in areas in and around Indonesia, Pakistan, one of those areas in the Indian Ocean in general. So that was the first encounter regarding a major tsunami with many people. My goodness, what a case. Anyways, as it relates to this storm right here, so as stated, we can definitely see that she's starting to lift now towards the northwest. So she's gonna push northwestward, then eventually more so towards the north, and then start pushing towards the northeast, where she's going to make landfall. And as you can see, that eye isn't really that calm at all, because as much as the eye should be calm with no rain or wind, the mere fact that there's so many sparkling white dots, you know what the sparkling white dots mean? That there's a lot of lightning taking place, okay? And then when the lightning flashes, the thunder responds, and that is one of the things that I'm afraid of the most regarding tropical weather. Lightning is very dangerous. Sometimes I'm looking at a camera like the halfway tree camera. So this is the Barbican, still soaking wet right now. The downtown camera, windshield wipers on right now, live, some people walking around, windy a bit. The Crossroads cam, so I was talking earlier about in the Crossroads cam, if I don't know if the government couldn't put a big white or maybe Jamaican colored Kingston sign right here on the hills of East Kingston. That would be so cool, like Hollywood. Some persons agreed, some persons thought it would be a waste of money, but something must could have been done, man. I think it would have been so cool. But Crossroads live cam right now, not really much in Crossroads now, but look towards the hills of St. Andrew. You can see how white it is. So they're definitely getting on some moderate, if not heavy rainfall up there as we speak. Okay, so if you're in northern St. Andrew, let me know what the weather is like in your area. Jaden, it is now at 175 miles per hour. Lord Jesus. And that was that what Dr. Greg Postel stated, stated that based on what he saw on some of the drop zones, it is way higher than the 165. So boy, Western Jamaica is really gonna get flattened, if not the east too. So you're saying that the hurricane center is out to the 2 p.m. update, okay. So just like what we stated, we saw that northward jog, so it is actually moving now, and it reflected, moving towards the west northwest at 3 miles per hour. Jesus. And it has increased from the 160 what was it? Was it 160 or 165? Lord Jesus God Almighty. So let us load up Twitter. So many tabs open. So alright, so Facebook, YouTube, so let's load up Instagram here and Twitter. Is that everybody? Okay, and Threads, because we have to post the update, and then we're going to be, basically getting the latest from the Weather Channel. I want the 1 o'clock update from the Weather Channel. So yes, you're gonna have to wait for another 25 minutes, unfortunately, but let us post the latest here from the Weather Channel. So this would read, attention, as of the, my goodness, it's just increasing in intensity. As of the 1 p.m. update, let me not get tricked by their time. The 1 p.m. update from the Hurricane Center, Category 5 major Hurricane Melissa, maximum sustained winds have now increased from 165 to 175. There's somebody's okay, I guess it's the Flatbridge camera with some noise. Let's mute it. Okay, good. So you said from 165 to 175. She's still, well, she is now, so she's not still anymore. She's now moving slowly toward the west northwest. Okay, at what miles per hour? Let us look. They came out quick with the 1 p.m. update though. That's good. So 175 miles per hour, west northwest, still at 3 miles per hour, still moving slowly. And remains on track to make landfall in Jamaica. My goodness. So those persons who are just joining the live right now, welcome. So you're basically seeing a little, how to get the, what do you call it? How we basically run things here over at Weather Jamaica, okay? You're basically seeing the behind the scenes is what I should have said. So attention, as of the 1 p.m. update from the Hurricane Center, Category 5 major Hurricane Melissa's maximum sustained winds have now increased from 165 miles per hour to 175 miles per hour. She's now moving slowly toward the west northwest at 3 miles per hour and remains on track to make landfall in Jamaica. And we spoke about the cardinal points for those persons who are having struggles, because all along it was moving towards the west today. Now it is starting to lift. So this is west northwest right here. Okay, so the mere fact that it is starting to lift with that northward trend means that she's starting to make that turn, and as such, if she's starting to make that turn, the more we head into the late afternoon and evening, the more she's going to be sending us all of the deeper conviction in the blacks, in the grays, in the purples, and then as soon as that reaches over our head, the atmosphere on the ground is going to respond with a lot of heavy rainfall and a lot of strong winds, and then eventually making landfall in this part of Jamaica, the western, if not the central portions. My goodness gracious, it is going to be bad. So let me get the latest satellite imagery here, the storm Carib imagery, the latest one. So let me post the latest one, the rainbow one, quickly. So this is the latest one that just came out 30 minutes past the hour. So it just came out at 12:30 p.m. and look at the system, man. Ooh, crazy Cat 5. At this point, just create a Cat 6 and done, yeah, because from 157 to 175, That's a lot of wind. Alright. So let us upload to our Twitter. Hold on, I think I'm uploading it twice. Did I save it? So let's save it. Alright, there we go. So Twitter, and then to our Instagram. See there? Expected to increase in strength. Oh, I for a second there I thought TVJ News broke the news before me. I thought TVJ News broke the news before me because I'm like, what? Somebody beat me to it for the first time. Alright. I'm hearing the rain and the wind starting to pick up. As I stated before, the more she starts drifting northward, the more we're going to be feeling her effects. I'm so grateful, by the way, for the persons who actually helped me make it up to the 50,000 subscriber mark. That has been my goal all year, and I'm finally up there. Right now I feel good. I feel like my reach. You know, because in January it was just 32,000 subscribers, and I said, boy, by the end of this year I want 50,000. That's my goal, and I don't even think I want another goal after that, because that's what the same thing with my Instagram. You know, when my Instagram got to $50,000, I didn't even care after, to the point where I just checked Instagram earlier and it was saying that I have up to 70, 80, and I'm shook, but I was already good with the 50,000. I'm shook right now. So I'm appreciative for all of you all. Welcome to the channel, welcome to the community. We just want to keep everybody safe over here. Let them know with very updated information as it is happening. This is why we're going live. And as long as I don't get any power outages today, I will continue going live. Like, imagine I woke up at 10 p.m. I woke up at 10 p.m., started live. As a matter of fact, I haven't been getting much sleep recently, by the way, okay? So I only got 1 hour of sleep last night. That's from 9 to 10. From 9 to 10, 1 hour of sleep. So I'm definitely getting some heavy rainfall now in my part of St. Thomas. Let me reload the latest Cuban Doppler radar and the latest Jamaican Doppler radar. Want to see what's taking place right now before the weather deteriorates to the point where I lose power. And keep in mind that if I lose power, anyhow yesterday the stream stopped working. Guys, that means I lost electricity. Okay, somebody said if my new goal is 100,000. No, I really don't care about getting up to 100,000. I'm glad that I got to the 50,000. That was my goal. So it's not like I'm gonna say, oh, 2026 I want to get to 100,000. No, I'm good right now at the 50,000. I can satisfy. I am grateful. Okay, so I'm not gonna try for 60,000 or 70,000. If you feel like you want to subscribe based on the content that you see here, you're free to do so, and I'm grateful for that. Okay, all right. So I just posted it on our Twitter, our Instagram, so we got the updates out, just increasing in intensity. So he's trying to make a run at 200 mile per hour wind sustained, like Patricia. Looks like that is what she's trying to do. Did I post it on our Facebook? Did I? Yes, I did. And I think it's going to be automatically uploaded to our Threads page. Okay, because I posted it on Instagram. Good. So look at this old fart now, eh? The perfect donut shape system in general, and she's starting to send up some of her moisture into my part of St. Thomas right now. What does the latest Doppler radar images show? You can see the moisture. I mean, almost every parish now getting in on some moderate to heavy rainfall. We're talking about anywhere from Westmoreland eastward, so St. Elizabeth, Manchester, Clarendon. You see those dark greens into the yellows, sections of St. Catherine, Kingston, St. Andrew, St. Thomas, Portland, St. Mary into St. Anne, Trelawney, getting in on some light to moderate rainfall, even up to some heavy rainfall.